Hello, I'm Sarah from Firegroup Fireplaces and Stoves in Edinburgh. Today I'm going to take you through a few key points to bear in mind when purchasing a wood-burning stove. The first thing you need to consider is the size of the room that you wish the appliance to heat. There is a simple calculation that you can do. If you take the length times the width times the height of the room in metres, this will give you the cubic metres area. This figure is then divided by 14 to give you the kilowatt output required to heat the room. It's really important that you use this calculation because if you end up installing a stove which is too large for the room, you will have to open all your windows and possibly even sit in your garden because this room will be too hot. The same goes if you buy a stove which is too small. You will still have to use your central heating to heat the room, which defeats the purpose of buying the stove in the first place. There are two types of stove, cast iron and steel. Cast iron stoves tend to be heavier, more hard wearing and retain the heat a lot longer. They are usually made of panels which are bolted together, and after many years of use the joints may require to be resealed with fire cement. Cast iron stoves also tend to be more intricate in their detailing, such as the side panels and the doors, and because of this intricate detailing they tend to cost that little bit more. Steel stoves are plainer and more contemporary by design. They are constructed by either folding or welding the steel to give a more rounded finish. They are very popular due to the fact the clean lines fit in well with today's modern minimalist look, and also the fact that they are a little bit cheaper than cast iron. Most steel stoves are available in an anthracite grey finish or black. However, some manufacturers do supply a metallic finish and offer green, blue and brown. Cast iron stoves tend to usually only be in matte black, but again some suppliers will allow you to enamel your stove in an ivory or a red or green, blue or black. Here at Firegroup Fireplaces and Stoves we also offer a wide range of ultra-modern and contemporary styled stoves, whether it be in the cast iron or the steel, with optional extras such as your glass top and your glass base. And also, depending on what kind of setup you decide to have in your own home, we can sometimes even offer you a glass hearth. The hearth for your stove can be made in a wide variety of materials. The one thing to remember is that it must be a non-combustible material. If you pop into the showroom, we will show you the wide range of materials we have, such as granite, slate, marble, micro marble and stone. These are available from all over the world and come in a wide variety of finishes. Different manufacturers offer different warranty periods with their stoves. However, there is a point to bear in mind that items such as the glass, the grates and the fire bricks on the interior of the stove are not normally covered by these warranties. Here at Firegroup Fireplaces and Stoves we are always happy to advise you on the best warranty that suits your needs, so please feel free to pop into the showroom anytime. It is not always a requirement for you to line your chimney, but most manufacturers do recommend this. We offer a chimney sweep and inspection service that we can advise whether this is required or not. If you do line your chimney, most manufacturers say that this will give you a better performance and a better efficiency. With regards to sweeping the chimney, if you use the stove all year round, we recommend that you sweep the chimney at least twice a year. This will get rid of any of the build-up of creosote inside the chimney and the stove. If you only use the stove in the winter months, then we recommend that it is swept at least once a year. When it comes to lighting your stove, we always recommend that you use fire lighters and kindling. We use these flamers, which are wood shavings dipped in wax, which ensure that the stove lights first time. Once the stove has actually taken, you can then start loading on your logs, slowly but surely. We recommend that you always use a hardwood for the wood in your stove, such as oak, ash, maple and beech, and it should have been seasoned for at least 12 months or kiln dried and has a moisture content of less than 20%. If you have access to wood yourself, then you must harvest it in the winter just before the spring and season it for at least 12 to 18 months before putting it on your stove. If you put in freshly cut logs into your stove, then you will have a serious accumulation of creosote and tar in the appliance and it will affect the stove's operation. We also advise that you don't keep logs too close to the stove as these could ignite. The best idea is to keep a log basket somewhere near the fire but not too close. This will help dry out the logs before use. For your day-to-day needs, we can supply you with bags of kiln-dried logs and also log baskets to help store the logs next to your stove. For those of you who have the space, we can also arrange for bulk deliveries of kiln-dried logs direct to your door. When loading your stove, we always recommend you use your heat-resistant gloves. These are supplied by most manufacturers with the stove. You need to open up the air supply and then open the door slowly to ensure that you don't actually get a lot of smoke and ash in your face. You then open the door and put on your logs. You then close the door and then close down your air supply again. Wood on the stoves do not create a lot of ash. They only produce at least a fifth of what would be produced on a smokeless coal fire, so therefore you only need to empty it at least once a week. Smokeless coal will need to be cleaned out every time you want to start the fire. The ideal operating temperature of a stove is between 230 and 475 degrees Fahrenheit. The best way of knowing your stove is working properly is to purchase a thermometer, which can be placed on the stove or on your flue pipe. A chimney fan is an ideal way to circulate air into the room. These are placed on top of the stove, and then as the heat rises into the stove, it causes the fan to spin and therefore pushes warm air back out into your room. As well as fans and thermometers, we have a wide range of fireplace accessories to help you to maintain and enjoy your stove in the years to come. When you're not using the stove in the summer months, it is always a good idea to leave the door slightly open. This will allow air to circulate into the stove and the chimney and prevent any dampness building up. We always advise that you don't put too many logs on your stove. This can actually cause overburn and eventually warp your stove. If you look after and care for your stove properly, it can last you more than 20 years. We have a wide range of care and maintenance products to help you look after your stove. These are things such as the flue and chimney cleaner. These are sachets which you place on the stove, which then help clear up the creosote and tar build-up inside the stove. We have glass cleaner, which is a foaming cleaner which you spray on and leave for 10 to 20 seconds and then wipe off with a damp cloth. You may need to repeat this action again. We also have stove paint, which is either a spray on or brush on paint for the outside of the stove to give your stove a brand new appearance. These are available in a wide variety of colours. We also have door seals. Your door seal needs to be checked on an annual basis as part of the service to ensure that it still has an airtight and smoke-tight seal. The door seal is then fixed to the stove by using a heat-resistant glue. I hope this information has been useful to you and you will pop into Firegroup Fireplaces and Stove showroom in the near future. We are Scotland's largest fireplace and stove showroom, where you can wander around and see the wide range we have on offer, or have a chat with myself or any one of the other HETIS registered engineers and advisors who will be only too happy to speak to you and answer any queries that you may have.